Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa, and today I want to focus on Anote's go-to-market initiatives through three different lenses: the problems our customers are actually facing, how Anote actually solves them, and how we're growing our community and presence to reach even more of those problems. Before getting into it, here's how I want to think about this. A proposal or a submission is just the moment we make first contact with a customer. That's our go-to-market motion. But the interesting part really is everything that happens after that. What's the problem underneath it? Does our technology actually fit? And do we have what we need to deliver? That last piece is where community really comes in, and I want to make sure that that's not an afterthought today. Let's first start with the technology since it shows up in everything else. At its core, Anno is a human centered AI platform. We help teams label data, train models, and evaluate results so that they can build AI agents that are actually reliable. For customers who need that disconnected from the cloud, we can take that same platform and harden it so it can run self-hosted and fully air-gapped. We've proven that this works. Our Dash 3 demo hit 100% schema accuracy across 227 outputs with under 97 seconds of latency. So that's the foundation. Let me walk through how 4 real problems came up throughout the summer and how that foundation actually hold up against each one. First problem: customers who simply can't use cloud AI. Picture a defense or intelligence team that wants to use AI, but their data can never touch an external server because of classification or policy. That's not a preference, it's a hard requirement, which means that most commercial AI tools are off the table before the conversation even starts. Our self hosted air gap setup solves that directly. But here's where community really matters. These opportunities need cleared personnel and teaming partners, and you can't find those relationships in the middle of a proposal window. They have to have already existed. That's exactly what our research fellowship and community events are building towards: a bench of relationships we can draw on before we're up against a deadline, not while we're scrambling. Second problem: deciding where to position resources without knowing what's coming. Military planners often have to commit assets and supplies before the situation is even clear. Get it wrong, and it's very expensive and slow to fix. This summer, with one of my colleagues, we worked on a research paper building a decision optimization framework for exactly that kind of uncertainty. And what I really want to point out here is that this research did not come out of nowhere. It happened because we stayed connected to the right academic and research circles. That's a community in research form. Growing our presence in that space through the paper itself and continued engagement with the Dash community is what turns a single paper into an ongoing pipeline of future work. Third problem: too much raw data and not enough usable insight. Sensing and surveillance teams collect far more signal than any other person can actually review, so the important information gets buried behind all the noise. Our work positioned Anote as the layer that turns raw data into something a person can actually use. Now, I want to be really honest here, because this is the clearest example of why community matters. This use case still needs an RF hardware partner, and we don't have one yet. That's not a small gap, and it's exactly the kind of thing a stronger network closes. This is still an open problem for us right now, which is precisely why growing that outreach and community effort isn't optional. It's how we eventually close gaps like this one. That same need, having the right partners in place before we need them, shows up again in our last problem. Bringing us to our fourth problem: dense scientific and regulatory data. Agencies like NASA have to sort through complex science and compliance requirements just to figure out what's even possible before they can evaluate a solution. The real bottleneck is understanding the domain and the paperwork, not the underlying science. We already have a public work in adjacent space and Earth observation AI, so we're really a fit here. And community plays a role here too. Being known in a research community before an RFI even drops is what makes our response feel expected rather than unfamiliar. Staying visible through our events and open community work is what builds that familiarity ahead of time, instead of trying to build it from zero the moment an opportunity appears. And that's really where the pattern across all 4 of these come in. So let's pull it all together. Every single problem I just walked through has the same recurring gap. We need partners, collaborators, or cleared personnel, and right now we find them reactively, scrambling once a proposal is already in motion. This summer, I helped to rebuild our community platform to fix exactly that. Live calendar sync so events go live without a developer, self serve registration and RSVP, admin tools, and a subscribe feature so people can stay connected without any added effort. This isn't just about growing our audience, it's about the infrastructure that lets us build the relationships and partnerships these use cases actually require before we're up against a deadline. Additionally, I spent some time building credibility materials and a consistent process so we can respond to the next problem quickly and consistently. Combined with a stronger community, that means we show up prepared with both the message and the partners already in place instead of building both from scratch. Looking ahead, Anote wants to automate these parts that aren't needed by a person. Some automation includes autonomous outreach to find more people and partners for these exact problems, AI generated content to stay visible, and AI assisted drafting so we can respond faster. This goal hasn't changed from everything I just walked through. Make it easier for us to reach people with real problems and easier for them and our partners to stay connected once we do.